This is Al Jazeera.
Welcome to the News Hour, live from Doha. I'm Fuli Batibo from the Al Jazeera News Center here in Doha, and live from Libya, Tunisia, Yemen and South Africa. These are the main stories. Residents in Nalut fear Libyan troops are preparing to retake the town as other western cities repel overnight attacks. A relaxed Muammar Gaddafi laughs off calls for him to go. Thousands protest in Yemen as President Saleh blames the unrest on the US and Israel. And 1 week on, New Zealand remembers the victims of the earthquake that rocked the city of Christchurch. The international pressure on him is growing, but Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi has coughed off suggestions that the uprising is threatening his rule. That's despite opponents who've taken control of cities close to the capital, successfully repelling attacks from forces loyal to him. Gaddafi's troops are reported to be massing in the west of the country. Residents in the town of Nalut fear Gaddafi is preparing an attack to regain control. Now, Nalut is about 60 kilometers from the Tunisian border. The town of Misrata is also under opposition control, but there have been reports of fresh battles with government forces there. Troops have launched an assault on the Ras Lanouf oil refinery near Gaddafi's hometown of Sirte. And a wave of government attacks has hit the rebel-held towns of AlJazeera and Zawiya. As the Human Rights Council continues to discuss the crisis in Geneva, the United States has said it's moving its warships and air forces closer to Libya. Dan Nolan reports on the main developments.
Panic sets in on a highway near the eastern Libyan town of AlJazeera. Anti-government fighters try to divert traffic after what they say was an aerial attack from Muammar Gaddafi's forces.
Jets are bombing us. In every raid they dropped 4 bombs. They attacked AlJazeera from 4 different locations.
There's another explosion in the military, Sweatina military. You can see the smoke from there.
These pictures were filmed by Associated Press on Monday. Witnesses said the target was an ammunition dump taken over by opposition forces. As they wait with rocket-propelled grenades for a follow-up attack, a former Air Force pilot who's joined the rebel ranks made this plea to control Colonel Gaddafi.
Whether it is the European Union or the Arabs or America or even Russia, we ask them to just shut down this man's airspace. We are capable of taking him out by ourselves, but we are only requesting the international community to enforce a no-fly zone.
But the man he wants to take out is showing no signs of leaving, spending Monday telling international media that he has Libya's full support.
Me, all my people with me, they love me all.
But if they do love you...
They will die to protect me and my people.
If you say they do love you, then why are they capturing Benghazi and they say they're against you there? Why are they in Zawiya?
It is a guide, and not my people.
In an interview that will do little to convince the international community that he's of a sound state of mind, Colonel Gaddafi also laughed off mounting pressure to leave the country.
Who would leave his homeland? Why do I leave my homeland? Why do I leave Libya?
That means the bloodshed and fierce firefights aren't likely to stop anytime soon. This amateur video was uploaded on social media on Monday and is said to show fresh battles at Misrata Airport, a sprawling airbase that each side now partly controls. Al Jazeera cannot independently verify it or another uploaded video said to show the aftermath of battles at the same airport on Sunday. Misrata is 200 kilometres to the east of Tripoli, its strategic value possibly best explained by the huge amount of weapons and ammunition now in the hands of those determined to bring Gaddafi down. Dan Nolan, Al Jazeera.
All right, let's now speak to Al Jazeera's Tony Bertley, who joins us live from the eastern city of Benghazi in Libya. Tony, how imminent is the danger of a Gaddafi counter-offensive there, and how are the people preparing for it?
Well, I think on land there's not much of a threat at the moment because Gaddafi's nearest forces are about 500 kilometres away, an awful lot of distance to cover to get here. But there's always the possibility of an attack by the air. We don't know what capability Gaddafi still has with his air force and with his helicopter gunships, but that is definite possibility. So people here are a bit concerned, but as each day goes by, their fears lessen a little bit, but they do know that they're dealing with a very desperate leader, a man who's prepared to do absolutely anything to retain power. So there's this uncertainty in the air here, although there's still jubilation. You can see I'm now in the middle of the, if you like, the heart of the revolution. This is where the administrative section of the opposition is. This is where the people are massing every single day to sing songs. The music is blaring out. We've got captured tanks and armoured vehicles over here. So this is the very heart of the revolution, and people here are very hopeful. I think they're hoping for a peaceful outcome, but you never can tell here.
Indeed, Benghazi was one of the first cities to fall, of course, Tony, and as we see lots of people there behind you. I wanted to ask you, how are they organizing themselves? How are they leading their daily lives? We've heard reports of perhaps food shortages in the city of AlJazeera because Gaddafi forces were stopping food from getting in. Is that the case in Benghazi as well, or are people able to lead a normal life?
Well, people are living as normal a life as they can in the current circumstances. They're not as badly affected as some towns further west, if you like, but there is now becoming a bit of a shortage. Supplies are not coming through as fast as they would like. They need sort of medicine, they need food, and also further west they need that desperately. So it's getting, as each day goes by without more food coming in, there is a growing problem here and a growing need. But that should be addressed in the coming days and weeks. There are a number of committees being set up to look at all aspects of life, from security, from medicine, from food, for getting this town back on its feet again.
And I was, in fact, going to ask you about those committees. How organized are they in filling this power vacuum? And is there a consensus among them as to what the way forward is?
Well, I think there is a general consensus, and the main object of that consensus is the overthrow of Gaddafi. So they're all together on that. The minutiae of detail is something else completely. We're also getting sort of voices of objection and dissension from people on the streets who are concerned that the people on those committees are basically Gaddafi's old cohorts, if you like. They were in the old establishment. They're suddenly appearing in the new committees, and people are not really happy about that. But I think they're prepared to go along with this at the moment to see how things progress in the coming days and weeks. But obviously, at the end of the day, they won't want to see the Gaddafi cohorts in the new regime.
Okay, thank you very much, Tony Bertley, for bringing us up to date there with the latest from the eastern Libyan city of Benghazi. Now, people in AlJazeera, which is also in eastern Libya, have successfully fought off attempt by Gaddafi forces to retake the town. Earlier, we spoke to a man who lives there. He says they're now worried the food supplies are being cut off.
Since yesterday, the situation is quiet. Yesterday morning, it's quiet. People are satisfied from the steps we are doing. We are talking even about the post-Al-Gaddafi period, after Al-Gaddafi period. Last night at 8 evening, there are two clashes.